Today, I will give my theory on how the law will actually be taken down and how the king's arc will conclude. So what I think will happen is Parrot and Spoke will be mostly included with the election, whilst Flame Frags will be getting the rest of his training from Theobald the Bird. Because it doesn't make sense for Leowook to train him as he is heavily connected with the law. So that could lead us to see one video where Flame resides with Parrot and Theo, but must stay hidden. On the other hand, Wemmbu will go back to the far lands using Jamato P's Pearl Cannon, and Spoke will continue to go even crazier, trying his best to assassinate Leowook, and this will lead to him becoming the server's next villain. Because if you think about it, there has been no real villain amongst the four main creators, although you could say Flame, it wasn't full-fledged evil, and Spoke is on a path right to that, with the ghost of Jamato P now going to be very much something he will think about, and we could see Maypick finally get a mind of his own. And what I mean by that is throughout Maypick's time with Spoke, he has always been blindly loyal no matter what Spoke is up to next. But with the influence of Jamato, this could change, and Maypick finally turning on. Spoke could be what begins his villain arc, which can further reintroduce Ashwag, as at the end of the Mafia arc, Ashwag does predict that Spoke will become just like he was. Now, I will talk about how the first election will conclude. I am not entirely set on one conclusion, however I believe that either Lettuce or Parrot will win, as that is what makes sense, and if Lettuce does win the first election, there will be another. As it seems like Parrot has to become king through all the hints that we have been given, as numerous people along the way of Parrot's king's arc have told things like, the server needs you, and you should become the king. It makes a better story for him to fail first, but that could make the king's arc stretch out, as we are yet to see what we know as filler episodes for the Unstable SMP, and I think that stories and arcs are best when kept to their correct pacing and not stretching it out just to conclude the idea of ending that the creators may have. Wemmbu is a very straightforward character to predict what he will do, as all he seeks is power, and to destroy what holds him back, and that right now is the law. He will clearly go as far as he has to damage the law in some sorts, as when protecting the Great Sea. He continued to fight until armor break just to set them back as much as he can. While it's likely he attempts to go to the far lands, this may not work out due to the law's pressure to assassinate him. However, after watching Parrot's latest video on the Purge, we hear the song Mechanical God by Azali at the end of the video, and that is song represents the player Wemmbu, which will probably lead us to see a reluctant Wemmbu alliance with Parrot, as their last interaction on the server is when Parrot exposes Wemmbu as the Invisible Knight. As much as he may want to betray Parrot for what he did to him in the past, he may choose to help him, as Wemmbu despises Lettuce and his law as much as what Parrot did to him. As I said before, I think that the best way for this king's arc to become a lot more interesting is for there to be cross-dimensional battles, mainly the Nether. The end only really consists of one person, that being Minute Tech, and it's unlikely that he tries to fight the law, as he says that if what's best for the end is for the law to take control of it, he will let it happen. This is a very different story in the Nether, as Clown Pierce is much more prepared to defend his dimension, and his men will be a lot more geared than the average Prot 2 lawman. Getting Clown Pierce and his Nether integrated into the storyline would be hard, but there is a way, as we know they have very strong connection to Merchant City, supplying it with the Nether resources for the overworld. So that could be one way if the law gets too greedy and decides to get rid of whatever sort of alliance Lettuce might have with Clown Pierce right now. Now, Spoke is someone who can very easily be brought into this story, as he's slowly but surely turning into a maniac, and has shown he is willing to go as far as it takes to get what he wants, as he was able to have Capital City at his fingertips with simple TNT tech. which can prove a point of mine that the law are very weak in terms of brute force. But their strength is in there. Manipulation and propaganda, brainwashing the server into believing that what they are doing is good, and it was until Leowook got a taste of his power and now going that dark path that every great leader eventually takes. Any videos or theories you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments, or look at post section and find my email and do it there. If you don't want anyone stealing your ideas, I will try to set up a Discord server soon. Bye.